I'm refreshing as well.
No.
Guys,
No.
welcome to the Netcast Part 2.
Whoa, we made
Second part.
it! We made it!
Does anyone
Special
want
two-part
to
edition.
Does anyone want to tell me that the sound ain't working?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Let's see if we get some feedback here.
Yeah. Should be good. I'm way off the greens. Everything's peaking. Maybe I'm too loud now. Maybe I'm not loud enough.
Yeah, it looks like they can. They can hear. They can hear all of us.
Hey, welcome guys. Welcome. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Let's take this from the top. Hollis, talk to the people. Do your speech. I'm here-
So you were chatting about old Null.
No, let's start. Do your
totally
point.
fresh?
Yeah.
Oh, so it took us a couple weeks, but we had figured out.
Yeah, your camera went out.
Are you serious?
No, you're back. Go ahead.
Okay, so much, man, technology. All right, so I just want to point you guys to a little area right over there. That's what it is. You see it right there? Can I put-
Now your camera's out.
No!
I'll take this. He's trying to point at this button
Corey,
over
you're the
somewhere
other
here.
side,
Yeah, there we go. We're terrible at this. But there's...
What is happening?
Anyway, thanks for sticking around and jumping back on.
All right, I better
Appreciate
recover right here quick. Well,
Yeah, save us.
guys,
Save
thanks
us.
very much for joining Bad Publicity. Tonight we're going to rip into the corpse of the Flashpoint Cycle. Very quickly to recap, what Hollis and Corey are trying to say is if you'd like to donate to the Patreon, it's here. This is it, and the link's in the description. So thanks very much for that. Corpse, we're done last week. If you missed that, go back, rewatch it, or watch it after this. Let's get into what we're seeing with the runner side of things here. Hollis,
Yep.
you got up first. You got Null here. If your video is gonna hold.
All right, I'm gonna leave the actual stream for a sec. All right, so my first opinions on Null, or do you want to pick back where I left off?
Yeah, go Null. So he's the whistleblower. He's a natural. Once per turn, when you encounter a piece of ice, you may trash a card from your grip. If you do, that ice has -2 strength for the remainder of the run.
Yeah. So I dig him. I like him. And it's not just because he and I share a likeness. That is, you obviously, if you did know that we share similarities, you haven't been paying attention. But like,
You wear the same deep V's.
we wear the same deep V's. I'm a confident guy. I don't care. I will wear a deep V, Jameson. I'll do it.
So he drops that ice strength. He just moves
That's how
forward
he
a
does
little
it.
bit.
The lower the V, the lower the ice strength. So I think that what I like about Noel is just I think that he synergizes with a lot of unique cards that the Anarchs have that are exclusively right just in Anarch, right? So you got the obvious card there is Parasite, where having the ability to lower an ice strength by 2 to me is fairly significant when Parasite is a card, because a lot of times on the corpse side when someone parasites your ice, you're sort of playing around that parasite. You kind of try to develop that plan. I'll res my CVS at this point. I'll purge my virus counters at this point. I think Noel kind of messes with that plan or that math a little bit, primarily because if you decide you're going to wait a little bit, being within 2 strength of that ice dying with a parasite means that Noel kind of just ignores your plan. Not only that, but it also could just change your mind in general about even having a plan to purge. You might decide, all right, well, I have a 5 strength ice or 4 strength ice. Whereas before, maybe I rationalized purging. Maybe now I don't rationalize it so much. And that can be significant. And I think the other obvious synergies that are with it are like, with one particular kind of ice. Corey, tell them what kind of particular kind of ice that is.
The fix breakers.
Bam!
Good recovery. He's talking about ice, and then
I know.
it's almost like we rehearsed that one, and you stuck with the line. Hollis went free range.
Yeah. I mean, I like. We know that the Anarch fixies are very, very strong, right? Because Mimic has been included in decks forever since Core. Yogg is on the most wanted list. It's pretty clear that the Anarch breakers that are the fixies that they don't pump strength are pretty darn good. So having an having an ID that helps kind of
I guess, fix a gap in the strength of those breakers is kind of unique. Is kind of unique ability. It's really interesting. It also means that you don't have to be so deep in on having data suckers all the time that can get purged when you run into like an itchy or something like that. It's just kind of convenient to know that y'all can break a toll booth without additional data sucker support.
Yeah, he's gonna have speed, right? You don't have to find those data suckers and charge them up.
Exactly, and that's, I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about, but that's the main things I really like about Noel.
Yeah, I agree.
Corey?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much hit on all the high points, like where he's really solid. I think he'd also, if you can get a deck that does some really nasty like parasite recursion, he can also help fuel some pretty hefty ice destruction builds. Just because he doesn't need the data suckers to get that extra couple strength in order to murder your ice by like clone chipping and parasite or something like that. So that could be another interesting thing to do, just play like aggressive, just chewing through all your ice early game. Fun stuff.
The thing that I find interesting about Null is that I don't know if this is his time to shine. In the corporation episode, we were saying how much damage is out there and coming, so to speak, that it looks like it could be a very dangerous time to be discarding cards. Now, that is a good thematic tie-in with this Anarch, the Anarch way of life, running recklessly, doing this stuff, and getting in fast and furious, while hurting yourself or opening yourself up to the potential of, being vulnerable. So I don't know if maybe it was done to balance him out for future past this cycle, but I really look at him like I don't know if maybe that wasn't strong enough, if there's a lot of damage coming. I don't know how much I want to be discarding cards. He's gonna definitely need to have his protection on point, but I think he's gonna have some good tools available to him. We're touching on the NFR breakers like that can hold power counters instead of viruses are going to be incredibly valuable and should be able to do some real damage in there, like as a one-off to complement that fixed suite that we've seen, and definitely old school parasite style ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, really part of the reason why I think that Noel initially didn't stand out to me, while I think he's fine now, was primarily because, welcome back, Corey, was primarily because we had Faust, and Faust was not yet on the most wanted list. So when you look at that, we basically had a breaker that had Noel's ability all of the time, every time, for the most part. And so there was really no incentive. Like when I first saw Noel, I said, well, wait a minute. I don't understand how I really use him when Faust is like almost auto-include in every Anarch deck ever made, right? Mm. It just makes it very difficult to justify that inclusion. Now, of course, now with the most wanted changes, and let me know if you guys can't hear me. Can you guys hear me pretty well?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Like, it's because I'm sitting back. with the most wanted change, like, I think that Noel gains power because Faust has had his power level reduced. Noel gains power because also the Adjuster Chronotype and Wildside combo also has had its power level reduced a bit by requiring additional influence. And while that still may be a fantastic like set of cards to have together, the fact remains is it does absolutely limit your options for what else goes into your Anarch deck. Anything that you could possibly want out of faction to be brought in kind of it can't fit. Influence doesn't allow it. I think that Noel gives you an alternative to say, I prefer to use Paperclip or Corroder and Force of Nature and Yogg. Kidding, you're not going to use Force of Nature. But, I want to use Yogg, and I want to use Mimic, and I want to, instead of having all in on a single breaker that I pump infinitely, which is granted better, I got my fixies in play, and I'm just going to I'm going to use Null's ability combined with injection attack, combined with what is that shaper card? Net Ready Eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, combined with Net Ready Eyes, combined with Data Sucker, and with all of these tools, I have a new sort of rig that I can build, and it's very interesting and very different. It may not necessarily be better, but I think that it gives options that are worth being explored, and if nothing else, it's just fun. It's just an actual fun, different kind of deck to play, and I'm happy to see him. I'm really happy to see Noah as a ID.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that he's sitting with some potential. I'm not sure he's going to make that big of an impact. It's not going to be like the Faust days where you're just, discarding like crazy and winning games. I think it's going to be more sporadic. Just because, like I said, the damage is always going to be a threat this time around. So we shouldn't see it as crazy as it once was. But we've already had a couple people run Null quite successfully. You guys want to talk about those ones in 2 different regions, UK and the Americas?
North America. I was saying round 1 we attempted this, that Cavis did pretty well with Null. Like, I know he qualified day 2 and placed pretty high up in the standings running Null NEH. And then I think when you guys mentioned someone in the UK.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark Mottram, I think is his name. Or Mothram. I don't know.
But what style did he run, Hollis? He ran the Siphon?
Yeah, and I think, Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach ran a similar list, is that correct?
I think so. I'm not 100% on that, though.
So Mark Mottram, in the UK, he played, I think it was a regional, and I think I can't remember if he won or got second. I hate that I honestly cannot remember off the top of my head. I apologize, Mark. But he ran an old deck that was a Siphon Spam, and generally I would expect a Siphon Spam deck to be in like a Wizard, a Val, or like really any flavor of Anarch can kind of do this. His reason for choosing Null was because Null was a kind of unknown idea at the time. A lot of people didn't expect Null, so when you sat down in front of Null, you didn't really know what a deck list would be for Null. Whereas, if you sit in front of a Max player, yeah, you kind of have a good idea. You sit in front of a Wizard player, you probably have a good idea of what they're playing. Playing Null was a wild card because they just did not know. Unless they had seen your previous games, they didn't know. And I think that was used to great effect during that tournament with his opponents not necessarily knowing what he was playing. Beyond that, the ability just seems to kind of fit kind of neatly for other reasons you would use it. If you're going to be playing Eater, having Null is really, really interesting because it allows you to Siphon turn 1 with even less overhead. You can make plays like, play the Eater, hit the Siphon, and now you don't even care if it's like a fairly sizable piece of ice. If it's nice, it's 4 strength, well, what do you care? You're already at a base 2 with Eater, trash a card from your hand, you're at 4. So as long as you got an extra credit or 2, that Siphon's going through turn 1, which we know if you've never been Siphon turn 1, your whole start of the game could be wrecked immediately. You could literally begin losing on turn 1 if that happens. So I think that having Null with that ability does have a benefit there. I'm more interested in the very, very unique builds that will come up, but still I think his application, the way he used Null in that deck archetype, is very interesting. It's very neat, and I still think Null is very much a wild card. I think if I sit down in front of somebody that plays Null, I don't have a clue.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the support cards that come along for the Anarchs this cycle, especially since they will be split across 2 runners. But the one good thing about Null is when Null came out here, it is a pretty generic ability for him. And what I mean by that is that there was enough cards already in our pool to support, like Hollis said, multiple builds or different styles that Null can fit into because his ability kind of just works anywhere. So coming out the gate, when this pack was released and there was big tournaments right after, yeah, he fit very well into the surprise factor. It's not like when Geist came out and Geist had that specifically, there was really not enough trash cards at that time. So you're pretty much going out on a limb. With Null, he can pretty much slot into that Anarch playstyle right away, get up to speed and do his thing. There's nothing holding him back. He will only get better as this cycle flows. I'm not sure where he's going to end up, but we'll see by the end of this episode what our initial thoughts are. Right now, first runner reviewed, he's sitting at number 1.
Bam, number 1.
He got there. He made it.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts.
The most interesting ID in this cycle is next.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
It's the Birdman.
Oh,
Birdman.
Bird
woman.
gal.
Bird
Oh,
gal.
I was hoping it was.
I thought you were going to start doing the Hollis is from the South. He's going to do the bird calls. I wonder how many people will get that reference that listen internationally.
Birdman, did he?
Yeah.
That's what they say. He says Birdman, did he?
Yeah.
So
Start
I'm
flipping
just
the
gonna-
pigeons.
I'm gonna jump in here, but this artwork on this card is just amazing, just gorgeous,
Yes.
just phenomenal. Like some of the best artwork this game's ever had.
Most stuff.
Like
I agree.
so good. Like it's so good. It makes you want to just play the ID, no matter how bad it could possibly be. Like at that point, it's like I don't even care. Like it's just so awesome.
Yeah, and like Wesley says
Yeah.
in the chat, like how many con jokes are
Yeah.
there going to be for this one? Con. It is like
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Con.
Con. So the thing that's interesting and why I say she's the most interesting one of the pack or of the cycle is because so many people have written her off already.
Yeah, it's true. You're seeing a lot of people going like, "Oh, she won't be good," or "Her ability is not going to fire that often," or something like that. But it seems like she. Well, I guess someone should read through her card.
So the criminal runner, second runner here, still has no link. Could that be a common theme? I don't know. So Con, she's a natural. The first time you pass a piece of ice each turn, you may install an icebreaker from your hand, lowering the install cost by 1. 40, 12. Huh.
12 influence. That's a
Huh.
that's a punch.
To quote a friend of mine,
That's a punch.
neat.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat. It's a neat ability there. It's neat.
So it's a 40 card runner deck. So and really the only thing that we've kind of seen for so far has been Golden, her
Yeah.
bird breaker,
Her bird. Yeah, Birdman. All right.
her bird breaker, man. Oh,
Yeah, so
Stabs.
so
flies off with your eyes.
so Golden is the only one that we've seen.
Yeah,
So Corey, finish off. You go rip through your thoughts here.
sure.
Rip it.
So, I think there's potential for this to be solid. I don't think it's going to be, oh my god, amazing, the most amazing ID, but I think there can be some really good builds. Yeah, I see the argument on like her ability may not fire as often, but the thing is she seems to play a very aggressive rush build, and they could do some really good credit denial, derezzing, and what if you get more things like Golden that synergize off her ability? Then she could play a very like early game, like just pressure, like not letting you keep ice and just keep hitting, your centrals. I mean, we've already seen that criminals are going to be able to get money, no problem. I mean, Temujin's in faction, they still have Desperado, still have security testing, and Account Siphon's still a card that some people play with. So, money is just like a trivial, those credit tokens, whatever. So, I don't know. I think it's she's one of those IDs that's really hard to judge or just say she's not good until more of the cycle comes out. And I think she could really open up to be a solid runner.
Hollis.
I don't know. No, man.
Don't buckle under pressure here. We're
I'm
live.
not.
We're live, man.
I'm not. I want to like her really, really badly, and I think the issue is that when I compare her to the other IDs that kind of give a discount, she's doing something unique because she's not just.
Is it uniquely criminal? Like, do you feel that this is where this should be?
I don't know. Like, okay, well, I do know. I don't think so. I don't think that it's as good as this really should be. Like, to me, the biggest advantage of Con is that the deck size is 40, so that you are more easily able to get to the icebreakers that you're looking for. And Criminal has always sort of had this penchant, this niche they fit into where they want to install or get a discount for installing breakers from their hand as efficiently as possible. We know that we saw Savoir Faire that does this. And so I think this helps fit in that wheelhouse where you want to continue giving the ice you're installing from hand a discount. Now, the issue here is that it's the first time you pass a piece of ice each turn, you can install the icebreaker. You lower the install cost by 1. Now, that's fantastic.
Break me down what pass is.
So pass would mean that you simply are done encountering.
So you're saying you have to encounter.
Yeah. Like
He
or
says
at least,
with the utmost confidence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, correct. I could actually be okay. Here's the thing. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but passing would also be. It doesn't say res piece of ice. It simply says pass a piece of ice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you run HQ, right? And they have 2 pieces of ice. They don't res the first one, but then they res the Eli. And you go, got you. Here's the corroder from my hand. Ha ha. Got it. Which is neat, but it's not really saving you from anything volatile. It's giving you a discount as far as it's giving you a discount on a click and a credit, which, though significant, right? It's significant because that's what makes professional context good. It's a click and a credit in one single action. But in this case, there's no actual huge benefit in the case of a barrier.
Yeah.
I'm not actually gaining much. The best case scenario is that I use this is for a sentry that would be very, very specifically bad to encounter. And I'm able to get past it. But we would need to see an overall change of competitive ice. Here's my inherent issue.
Well, where I was going to is that there's also passes in the word bypass. So bypassing ice.
That works, right, Corey?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I'm quite confident it does.
Yeah, you
one of the gentlemen in chat, one of the individuals in chat also believes it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe chat.
I believe in it.
Yeah. So it definitely. It has uses. I think my biggest issue with it is that. Okay, so this is a stretch, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway because this is the real talk about Con. So how I feel. So in competitive play, you know a lot about the threats in the game, and when you build your rig, when you build your deck, you go into the deck building process, knowing what the threats are and the best ways to mitigate them. To mitigate them. Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. To mitigate them. And the issue here is that while this ability is useful, I don't think that I would lend my playstyle in such a way to where I still wouldn't preemptively install breakers on the off chance that if there's 2 breakers, there are 2 different things that could do something bad to me. For example, if there's 2 different ice on one server, the last thing I want to happen is for me to encounter a sentry and then a code gate, and I can only install one of them. I'd probably preemptively install one in general already, just because I want to be able to deal with that threat. And if that's the case, then that means that I'm number 1, boom, I'm already reducing one of the times that ability is going to be useful. Well, that's a negative. And then I added the fact that her breakers that we are seeing thus far, Golden, is so expensive to use that I'm not even sure it's worth the include. Golden is so expensive. I don't know if you guys have seen what that card does.
Oh.
It's a 5.
But this is in the criminal faction. What do you mean it's so expensive?
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
money.
you're right. They're gonna like with cards like Tamuji Contract, like definitely the economy is like upped, but it comes down to where I think even just the like Golden's ability to break ice in general has just been kind of reduced. Like it's fairly costly to just in general break with Golden even without using the secondary ability to derez a piece of ice. So I feel like knowing that it's that expensive deters me away from playing cards like Golden. Now, this could be different if we find that her Code Gate and her Barrier Breaker, if she gets one, I'm assuming she'll get one. Like, if we find out that both of those that are coming out, she has a whole Breaker Suite and those are better costed, excellent. But if she gets no Breaker Suite like options, if it's just Golden and then we have to go with a Paperclip and then we have to go with another Code Gate Breaker out of faction, this is even worse for Khan because she only gets 12 influence. Mm-hmm. So you're asking us to, again, I don't know because we haven't seen them, but you're asking us to like play a runner that the ability is very, very like selective. You're probably not going to install all your breakers using the ability, which is already bad enough, and then it gets less influence. The 40 card deck size helps, but you have less influence. So you can't even influence in other breakers out. And that is not what I like. That's what I rather don't like about her. So that's my 2 cents. I think that she's fun. Again, I think that she's an incredibly fun ability, just not super good.
Whoa.
I don't think she's super. I don't think she's super good.
So I think, and I'm not just saying this to play the other end of the spectrum, because most of the time I just like to disagree with what Hollis says.
This is true.
I was just waiting for reaction from him, but he's stone cold. He's stone cold. I really think there's going to be something here.
Okay.
Come on, right? In Damon we trust. Are we?
Yeah, I am on board with In Damon We Trust. I wish we could make that as a legit hashtag and you catch it.
You can. I'll try and hashtag this episode that.
In Damon We Trust.
But the thing is that if you've listened to what Damon has been saying about the game and about how his design space works, I think you're going to be seeing certain programs and breakers make you pay the upfront cost. I think, when he was talking about Faust, when he said that maybe it was just a little too cheap up front, going back, I think if that was a Damon designed card or a redo, you'd be looking at like a 5 or 6 or Fem is 9 and people were still playing Fem for a while. You see it pop up every once in a while just because its ability is powerful. You look at something like Golden and people are already like, oh my goodness, these breakers are so expensive. But yeah, it's 5 to put up, and I'm putting that 5 out there, but for 2 credits, I'm breaking up to 2 century subroutines. For 2 credits, I'm at +4 strength. That's pretty good. It's not very good. I know there's stuff in faction that breaks centuries, but if we see 2 other cards, or like this to complement a breaker suite for her, I think she's going to be pretty powerful just based on that. Not only that is, like you said, Criminal is the faction that's making money, right? We have the Tenma contract. We have, siphons that are out there that can, do damage. We've seen what they can do with the security testing suite. We haven't seen her console yet. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with her console. But right now there's already the standard go-to Desperado.
Yeah, Desperado's very good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's
pretty good console.
There's bank jobs.
Yeah.
You always have to look at what FFG releases as their promo cards. Bank job is now a promo card, so sometimes there could be something there still with old school bank job coming this cycle. So don't sleep on the fact that her breaker suite could be a little expensive. I do think that her ability of installing it again, lowering by 1, might have been a little too soft.
Yeah. I think the discount could have been higher. Or they maybe even could have made it where it didn't just trigger the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna hit her influence and stuff like that, she could have a bit better ability.
Yeah.
but I think her main strength is going to be the fact that you can install after you pass. So that's going to be where it's going to be, the install lowering by 1. I don't think it'll be that detrimental. I don't really see her right now using, because I look at how Golden is structured. I don't know if she could use any outside breaker suite other than what she will get this cycle. It will be interesting to see what people can come up with there. But I really think that Criminal is poised. Like, we can't have two duds in a row, right?
Well,
I'm sorry. Who was that? Who was the last criminal? Who was
that?
I don't
Who's the
think.
last criminal?
what was it? He was
Or are we saying that they didn't get an ID last cycle?
yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame they didn't get one last cycle. Yeah. Weird. Okay. Yeah.
That being said, here's an interesting question for you both. 40 card criminal decks have not worked in the past. If you so choose to play a 40 card criminal here,
Yeah.
do you think you're better off going back to Silhouette just for the more influence?
No.
It's like
You know why? Because her card art doesn't touch this card art at all. I'll play this ID for the card art.
that's the selling point to you. That is the actual selling point to you. Is
Hey
like,
man, look, there goes a little bit of just looking good while you're playing. And if you just have like that ID, you don't care if you're losing. You're just like, no,
the
this
selling.
is fine.
That's what Jameson, as a point, that is what we've come to. The selling point of this card versus Silhouette is the fact that this card has better card art.
Nah, I mean, obviously this ability is going to synergize better across the board with what's coming, but I don't want anybody to sleep on Khan. I mean, if there's anybody that can figure it out, I'm really pushing Dave. I've messaged him a couple times, and he's waiting to see the support that it gets first, but I'm trying to talk hopeful thoughts into his head that Khan is there.
Yeah.
And that's
Little-
Dave Hoyland.
Little sweet nothings.
Yeah. You guys want to say anything else about Khan?
No, I think she's a definite like wait and see. I think she
Right.
needs more of the cycle to develop.
You don't have to wait and see. Just listen to me.
All right,
I'm
cool.
telling you, it's there.
It's got it. It's there. I mean, already she's number 1 in card art. I'm a
Yeah.
card art fanatic, so
So Null
this-
has been number 1. If we're done with Hollis, where's the slot?
Noel's 1, Con is definitely 2 to me. It's definitely 2. It's definitely 2.
Now I'm talking about the potential. Like we're talking about when this is done.
When this is done?
you're not changing this mind.
When this is done.
No, like yeah,
Okay.
no, like the cycle, right? Like where do you think this? Like, is this going to be the most powerful? I'm not talking about currently right now, because currently right now, okay, I would agree, but
Yeah.
where's the potential?
I think is
It's a solid 2.
Corey, you sticking the same thing?
Yes, right now.
I'm gonna put Khan ahead of Null.
whoa, really?
Yeah, I really think that Criminal is poised for a bounce back.
All right.
Let's make a move into green, everyone.
Oh boy.
No.
The one that we can most relate to, the Netcaster. Smoke. So, still no link.
Garbage.
she's a G mod
Continue.
stealth.
She's what now?
A G mod.
Garbage. Continue.
Garbage mod.
Garbage mod.
One reoccurring credit.
Garbage.
Use this credit to pay for using icebreakers.
Garbage.
What
That-
other keywords does she have?
But that credit is also a stealth credit.
Oh yeah, that's important.
And now we're at OP. There we go. That's what I wanted to hear.
What's her? Did you go over her deck size?
Nothing up my sleeve is a 40-15.
Oh my! We made it, boys. I can't wait. We made it there, guys. We made it. So good.
Insane.
That's nuts, right?
Insane.
I can't believe that she's 15 influence.
Yeah, that's a lot for a 40-15. That's 40 cards with a free stealth and 15. That's so good. That seems so good. It feels good. It makes me feel good.
It just feels good.
I went to bed last night because it felt so good. Like
Sweet.
I've never slept better.
Some pretty sweet tribal.
So let's just look at some of the things with this cycle so far for the runners. We have not seen any Link, and all art by Matt Z. Strange.
It's funny. It's
Oh.
kind of like he's good at it or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's good.
All right, Corey, take us through what we can expect with Smoke.
You might want to play her with some stealth cards. Seems like it's going to synergize pretty well.
Is that the
No,
potential
like-
of stealth coming? Could
So-
she sustain a stealth suite now?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's already great stealth cards and stuff. I mean, people have been doing stealth rigs like Stealth Kate, and like this right here, like allows you to get that up faster. Maybe not as cheap, but she could be up and running without having to get like the cloak, because she's got that shit built in. But anyway, it's crazy, and it looks like you're seeing, teases of some other stealth type stuff coming, and so if more stealth comes in the cycle, she's just gonna explode. Like, I think she's easily poised to be just one of the top runners,
Yeah.
going forward.
Because we
Like,
saw
I love her. Like, I think she's gonna be a lot of fun to play, and people have been wanting stealth rigs to be like a major thing of the game, and she's like the ID. If anyone's gonna break that into just being great rig setups, like it's gonna be Smoke. That's
So
true. She doesn't have a Falcon.
I feel really beside myself for this one here, because I was so excited to see it. I love the character of Smoke, how she's appeared on various cards, and now we finally get a revealing. I think her power is so incredible. I think it. Yeah, like Hollis said, I really think this is going to be OP. This might be the runner of the cycle, just because the only downfall here is what cards are coming.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, like the last one, that the breakers are going to be balanced well for their install cost. Because I find that sometimes there's just not a lot of thought into building a stealth rig, right? Like, this deck is going to be self-building. There's probably going to be a couple, like, it's already 40, so you're already trimming 5 cards off normal. You're going to put all the stealth cards, in, then you're going to splash some economy cards and a little speed draw. And then maybe like if you have some slots left over, you got what's her name, Corey, the one that does the credit breakdown.
Oh, Beth Kyorang Chang.
Yeah,
or
so
something like
and then
that.
you take Beth and you put Beth in there. So right, like, is that
So
not
good.
already the deck, right? Like,
Right.
So I just think there's not going to be much thought into building a stealth deck, and that kind of, to me, hurts her draw as someone who just likes to build decks. So we'll see where it goes. But that being said, like, this is just going to be ridiculously good, because stealth, we've already, like, you've touched on, we've seen the efficiency that stealth plays at already. So
Word.
Hollis.
I think she's garbage, and I would never play her in my life. And no, I'm kidding. Like, not at all. Like, I don't think she's garbage at all. So, I'm very long-winded. So, my quick comparison would be like this. So, Kate gets a free credit every turn to install something, whereas Smoke is going to get 1 credit only on your turn. So the effect is almost not as good. It's basically not as good, and universally, if we look at it that way.
You got that card that replenishes credit, though.
Mirror.
Yes.
Right. So with Mirror, it's actually better, or it's the same, right? So that does help. I think that Kate's inherent ability to say, like, on my turn, I will use SMC to get this breaker, and then on your turn, I'll clone ship an SMC, haha, and then go, like, so I get the credit again on my turn on the next SMC. I think that was a unique ability. But I think Smoke doesn't get the off-turn interaction that would give it the discount, but I think that's irrelevant, because I think it's not as important as it sounds when you have Mirror that's there.
Yeah,
because I know how you feel. It's all so good that you're like, oh my god, like.
But it's cool because like Smoke, because I guess one of the things with stealth, right? You needed to generate the stealth credits. You couldn't necessarily do like SMC run. You needed I need cloak SMC run, but Smoke's like, nah, dog.
No,
SMC run.
Yeah.
I got you.
Unless it was a cheap code gate and you're like, refractor. Hey.
Right.
And that's what I like the most. I think we've talked about this before. I think I know for a fact we talked about this before long ago when we discussed stealth builds. But like the issue is that generally when you build a stealth rig, there's a lot of moving parts, and so your deck is kind of slow to start, right? Like you've got to get the cloaks, then you got to get the breakers, then you got to have like, the other multiple sentries. Well, guess what? You're gonna need some ghost runners, and you need all these moving parts. And like Corey just said, having her with the keyword of stealth means that you can utilize a card like Mirror, which gives you an MU. It gives you the ability to replenish a stealth credit. And so you can basically go, all right, so here's an SMC. Is that a code gate? That's perfect, because my refractor only costs me a single credit. By the way, can we just take a second and recognize how freaking efficient refractor is in this deck? Like in any Smoke deck, refractor is one of the best breakers in Smoke. Like the fact that it costs you only a single credit, and then it bumps to 5, which is basically, as far as I'm concerned, 100. Compared to all the code gates everyone's using right now, right? Like, it basically bumps to 5 with a single stealth, which you have at the jump. The way I would look at it is when you play Kate, one of the benefits that Kate has is the ability to use clone chips and self-modifying codes to sort of stair-step the breakers that are necessary to be put in play. And having Smoke with an inherent, like a starting stealth credit, means that you get the same sort of like progressive breaker installation without the crutch necessarily of needing to have so many support cards to work. I don't need to have 2 and 3 cloak. I can get by with a single one or a single ghost runner while I'm drawing cards and building up and getting these things in play. And Smoke's ability and combine that with Mirror is going to mean that I can basically say, I break you with this, the stealth is back, I break it again, and I'm in. So beginning at the early game, and from early game all the way through, you can start stair-stepping your breaker suite and get into servers. Yeah. And that is just nuts. Yeah. To me, that's so nuts.
So yes.
And it's just like, she's good now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If no new stealth cards came out, and we just had to play with what's out, she's great. And now that there might be more support cards coming out in Flashpoint, it's exciting. Just because it's just going to really push that style of runner.
I'm not too sure. I don't know how good she would be if she didn't get anything more.
You don't think so? You don't think she would be good? You don't think she would be good even if she got? You don't think she'd be good if she got nothing else from this point going forward?
She would be good, but I don't think she's going to be so. So I'm thinking like maximizing her full potential. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I think she would be good, but I think with what she's could be getting, it's going to elevate her to great, to amazing. Because everything that I'm about to say is why I love the card and why I hate the card at the same time. So this is my recap. Some of this stuff is repeated from what you guys would said. But the problems with stealth rigs in the past is that you had to find multiple pieces. So we've already slimmed that out, right? She starts with a stealth credit, so she's already charging the stealth bonuses of breaker cards. She has a lower deck size, so she's already finding her pieces a lot quicker. And she's in Shaper, so she's got all of the amazing Shaper tools available to her to find the pieces if she doesn't draw into them.
Yep.
And get them out and up and going. Smoke can be applying pressure so quickly, so efficiently, it makes you want to take everything we said about the corporations in the last episode and just go back and run a fast advanced NEH deck. Right? Like, she's so scary about how much pressure she can apply out the gate. Not only that, do you couple her with her console mirror, which is going to be replacing her spent reoccurring credit, but it also gives you the thing that Shaper needs the most, MU, and you get 2 of them on it.
I'm crying, Jameson. It's like she's so powerful. I don't even know how I'm supposed to protect servers anymore.
2 MU for 3, plus the ability of the console.
Yeah.
Like,
Seems good.
I don't know what's going on. Why did Shaper get... That's why I think, why did Shaper get this huge bump? Huge.
Well...
And that's why there has to be something with criminal. You can't...
That's your evidence.
Your justification is Shaper gets something good, so criminal has to get something good.
Yeah.
I think that, and I got to go back up to scroll to the name. Martin Borquez Jr. He made a question. He asked about Dive. He said, hey, does Dive become viable? And I responded in chat, but I'll respond, recording as well. I think Dive is interesting because it is a universal breaker, and that's usually a good thing. But I have a feeling that the inherent tools in Shaper make it so that you don't even really need it. Like, I have a feeling if I made a smoke deck, and I primarily used self-modifying code and clone chip, I'd effectively be able to hunt out my cloaks, hunt out my breakers, and just stair-step them as necessary to when I encounter the breaker I got to get through. In which case, if that's what I'm doing, if those are the pieces I've got, because in general those things are just good, clone chip and self-modifying code, I don't even need a universal breaker like Dive. Now I can see him maybe taking the slot for something like an Atman, if that was going to be the card, because Atman breaks traps and other weird pieces of ice that you can't break with the standard stealth breakers. So maybe you go with Dive because of that. But outside of that, I really can't think of much reason to run it as opposed to just having all my regular breakers. Like my regular breakers should do the job.
You know what what Dive should have been, or is a replacement for, is those decks that Corey was running Alpha and Omega in.
Yeah, there you go.
Was I doing that?
What?
Wait a second.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think you have to look at Dive as efficiency in the long haul, right? Yeah, it's a little bit. Again, go back to look at the install cost of something, and that's going to tell you how good it is. If it's got a really high install cost, I think it's going to be good late game and stuff like that. And you look at something like this where it's only going to cost you two credits to break all subroutines. Now, mind you, still have to pump the strength, but look at the economy cards in this cycle that we're getting.
Right.
I don't think economy is going to be an issue to
It's
Yeah,
hold on.
and if only Shapers had some card that like reduced the install cost of programs or hardware, like yeah,
If only.
Modded
If
out.
only.
You talking about modded? Or are you talking about running a single Kate in here?
Right.
And you know what's
Yeah.
really funny about that? Like, in all of our calculations for what it costs to break ice, we always assume, like, okay, well, it costs XYZ based on XYZ factors. But the truth is, in a stealth deck, that math is thrown completely out the window.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if you know you're only going to make the one run during the entire, like, turn, then you can dedicate all of your reoccurring credits, if you want to just the one run. So you boost with stealth and any available extra reoccurring credits on your cloaks, you straight up just get to keep. And so now you basically are spending even less than you normally would on the single run you may even just plan to run. Make that turn. It's nuts. Like,
Yeah,
it's so,
I mean, and you're talking Shaper too, so I mean, single run, you're probably pulling multi-access anyway, right? So,
Yeah.
I just think, something like this, like you said, Hollis, the efficiency of the stealth credits, and you have all these other regular credits left over, and that's what you just do with Dive E, is you use it to pump the strength.
yeah.
Right, because it's costing you 2 to break everything else. So, I mean, there's the yin and the yang, right? The money you were going to spend to break subroutines is just all kind of grouped together, and you just boost the strength.
Yep.
Hmm.
Whew.
So I think the end result is Smoke's pretty good.
She's pretty. hey, she sound pretty good. She sound pretty good there. I mean, I love her.
Yeah, I think she's going to see a lot of play as soon as her pack hits.
Yeah.
Like, get prepared, because you're going to see
Yeah.
a lot of Smoke in your local meta.
Do you think that she becomes the dominant Shaper?
Ooh.
Boy.
Okay, and I don't mean about like play.
Why you stopped us
Ooh,
both?
that's kind of that is
Marinate on that.
friend.
Marinate on that for a quick
Yeah.
second. But I don't mean that by like I mean totally like in a power perspective way.
Okay.
Right? Like Kate was the biggie before because of her power. And Haley's come in with a little bit of gimmicky stuff like that with this camera stuff that has put her on the map. Chaos Theory is always going to be ebbing and flowing. But right, can she take the crown from Kate?
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna put her solid tier 1 and say she's gonna get there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it. I'll take that
Yeah.
jump.
I mean, I've been wrong before, but man, here's the thing: Netrunner. Most of the time, the best IDs are about economy, and she is straight up money.
Yeah.
Like, she is straight up.
That's literally what her card ability is.
Her card ability literally says Gmod should just be erased, and it should be G money. That's what it should be, as her subtype, because she's basically money. Like, she's giving you a free credit. She's giving you a free recurring credit every turn to use with icebreakers, and then we know that there's a console already in the game that when she comes out, it's going to allow her to refresh that credit. So she could by herself give you 2 free credits a turn, and that's crazy. Like, that is Kate level.
And you're using those credits for what? What are you using them for, Hollis? Icebreakers?
Icebreakers.
In the game of Netrunner?
In the game of Netrunner, where you use icebreakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at like, there's no way to mathematically lay out. Well, okay, there probably is, and someone will prove me wrong. But back in the day, we used to try and say, what is the value of a click? Is a click worth a credit? What is the value of a credit in the long run? And people used to kind of have that discussion. But there's no way to actually put a value on what one stealth is worth, because you look at cards like Dive or Refractor, Switchblade, right? Like, one stealth credit is so diverse in what it can do.
Right.
It's just incredible. Like, you can essentially pay one stealth, be wiping out just one whole piece of ice onto the next one.
Yeah.
This is my last thought with this one here, is that This is the power and speed that Kit could have been and should have been.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with that. Yeah, I'm definitely with that. Like, I think so.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm with that. And to add to what you're saying, Jameson, I honestly feel like understanding like how much a stealth credit is worth is nuts, because like you said, in the case of, use as an example, use Switchblade. In the case of Switchblade, a stealth credit could be used to gain you 7 strength with one of them, 1 stealth credit, or it could be used to break 1 to 4 subroutines. Like
And if you had mirror out,
yeah,
correct.
It's good. It's so good. And okay, and since we're on the subject, mirrors 3 credits for 2 MU and that ability.
That's what I was saying, man. We
Right?
play that
It's
part.
2 MU. You're gonna give me 2 MU?
Yeah.
Why would you give me 2?
How's that clicking with you now? I said it like 20 minutes ago.
I'm just like, why would you, Jameson? Why give me 2 though? That's so cheating. That's cheating, bro.
Yeah, and like
cheating.
you know, in this new age of Shaper, like V said, you know, turning wheel counters and all that stuff in these stealth decks are just going to be so phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eternal is a good card.
Yeah. All right,
Jeez.
so Hollis, go re-rank your. Where is Smoke going?
Smoke is going as number 3. I'm kidding. Smoke is going as number 1. She's number 1. She's top tier. She's tier
You can
1.
never trust the first thing you say, right?
No, you can't. She is tier 1.
Corey?
Oh yeah, number 1.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah,
Easy.
straight.
No contest.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is pretty easy to place her, and she's be the number 1 runner after this is all said and done. Let's move into our last one. We are back in the Anarch cycle.
What?
We are back and continuing our patterns here. We're all about patterns and breaking down the codes here. No Link I guess Link is going to be hard to come by. This is Omar. This is also done by Matt Z.
Yes.
What's when you have 4? It's not a trifecta. It's a
Quadfecta.
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 What's
He has essentially done all runner IDs this cycle.
Yep.
Unless maybe there's another one that we haven't seen. I don't know. Omar is a natural. He's a 45-12.
That ability better be real good.
It better be, huh?
Better be real good. Better be better than Khan.
He takes a click, make a run on archives. If successful, instead treat it as a successful run on another central server, which is either R&D or HQ.
Mm-hmm.
Use this ability only once per turn.
Yeah. Kung Fury is legit.
Is that the pun you're supposed to make that you got?
No, man. We got a couple of them we got to do. That's our obligation. So every one of you, all right? We got to. He wanted 2, but we can do better than that.
Hollis, what's going on with this guy here?
Let me tell you about this guy. So, what if I told you that when we start the game, the servers that you care the most about are HQ and R&D, because you want to make sure that as a corp that your servers are protected and that I'm not able to get in. You don't want to give me any free agendas, no extra points. And then I install a data sucker and tell you to get wrecked. Or I install a turning wheel and also tell you to get wrecked. Or install, goodness gracious,
Medium, nerve agent.
a medium, a nerve agent. Are there any more? A bagot. And tell you, my friend,
Lamprey.
to get and Lamprey.
Take that one
What
credit.
if I told you to get wrecked? Like that is the unique ability that Omar provides. Is that by making a run on archives, you sort of change the pressure to a different server.
Corey's got Crick for days in his deck now.
Man, like 3x crick always. Like it basically allows him to kind of target the pressure differently. So Omar lets you run archives. It counts as a successful run, and it makes it as if it's successful on a different server. Now, to me, what's interesting about this,
It's another easier way to land APOC too.
oh, it is. It's another easy way to land Apocalypse, which is like so good.
archives, sneak in, and then run the one server that actually requires work.
Yeah, there is something really interesting about being able to apply pressure to HQ and R&D, but through archives. Like we've seen this ability good in other decks, like for example, or in other archetypes with the cards, like Sneak Door Beta, where you can use Sneak Door, you make a run on archives, and instead it's treated as a successful run in HQ. We understand how that can be useful. I think when we look at cards like Begot, and I mean, I honestly feel like there could even be more coming. Like when we look at the cards, when we look at the fact that you automatically get data sucker counters because you won't hit the CVS in archives, like there is a huge benefit that comes with having this kind of ability, especially considering all of the cards that are already in Anarch that trigger from successful runs on HQ or R&D, as you guys have said, like Medium, like Nerve Agent, like, and of course, like I said, like Begot, and Tournament.
You're gonna land those quest completeds for days.
Dude, you can. I'm just gonna access it. I don't care what the ice, like, I don't know.
Notoriety it.
I mean, that's a little risky. I mean, I don't know.
You're
Like,
paying influence for that, man. Quest completed though.
yeah. But for me, it's still a matter of like knowing that I get to add additional benefits to the cards that are in faction for me by attacking a different server. I'm spreading that pressure around, and in Netrunner, spreading that pressure around is a very good thing, on the runner side, because when your opponent feels like that archives is safe, when your opponent feels like a server is safe, they're gonna just simply play the game they're meant to play. They're gonna Nvidia it the way it's meant to be played. And they're going to just place the ice appropriately based on what's necessary. When you are adding extra pressure on a central, on like archives, that ice that was going to the remote, well, I mean, now they have to make a really tough decision. Is it more important to place that ice on archives versus placing it on the remote or HQ or R&D? Do you run ice kill? Like. Mm-hmm. Like, are you running ice destruction? So how many ice are you actually going to put on archives now? You're going to run one? A single sentry? That's fine. We'll just like fork you and just click through and we're good. Like, I mean, those things are the kind of the worries that I have, because basically Omar kind of tells you, or the way Omar works is, if you don't keep all centrals, HQ, R&D, and archives well protected, they can game you out and use their existing beneficial cards in Anarch to get an even larger advantage. I like him. I think he's kind of interesting.
He is definitely interesting, but do you find it takes some of the surprise out of it, since the Sneak Door ability is built onto his card? Right? Like, sometimes it was cool to be holding a Sneak Door, and when you needed to, play it and then make some runs before archives got iced up.
Right.
Like, do you think against him now you're just having to ice archives harder, right? And then it loses that surprise ability? Or do you think that that's part of his ability, is now the ice is spread a little thinner?
I think that's part of it, actually. I think the fact that you have to spread ice a little thinner is kind of his intent. So I feel like by spreading ice thinner, you're reducing ice, and we're gonna be optimistic. We're gonna say that they're gonna put 2 ice on archives. Maybe to me the probable number is 1, but like, let's say they put 2 ice on archives. That's 2 ice that's not going on R&D, HQ, or the remote server, which means that it's definitely delayed a turn of installation most of the time in Netrunner. I think the first turn you're installing 2 ice, and then some point when you're transposing the mid-game, I think you install 2 additional ice. It's very common. So, I mean, basically, you're taking those 2 ice installs away, and you're saying, well, archives is necessary. Well, but here's something else that's nuts. It's not even just about the additional ice you're forcing them to play. It's about the credits they're spending to res the ice that is played. That's also beneficial. Like, that fact can be overlooked. Like when it's one thing to force you to install ice. Like you're losing actions and you're losing available ice for the remote. That's one thing. But when now I'm putting pressure and it forces a res on a server where before you kind of didn't care. You kind of just threw a CVS in there to make sure that I couldn't just pile up data sucker counters. Now all of a sudden, you want actual ice there to res, which costs you money. So for Omar, the pressure there is pretty interesting. Omar running any kind of account siphon, Omar running keyhole, Omar running anything that's going to trash cards like that, DLR. It's all very interesting primarily because runs on archives can be used for something else, to add pressure somewhere else. And, I mean, he gets all of that in addition to having a regular, the standard tools and benefits of Anarch, which is just like nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's pretty cool. It's one of those, too, like, if you think about even, like, some of the virus progression, like a medium, you get a medium, like, leveling up, and some of the option could be is they just try to, what do you do? Because just icing up more of R&D isn't necessarily keeping them out, because then it means they can still sneak in through archives to access and still see some cards on R&D. So you have two servers that you have to pay attention to. And then the fact that getting in through one grants access to the other two.
Yep.
He's a sneaky fella. You gotta watch that, Omar.
Has his console been pulled out yet?
Yes. I think so. That's someone can pull that up. What I've been enjoying Omar as, and I think he's really solid. He's a fantastic rebirth target.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just because your opponent may look at you and go, "Oh, it's cool," and they'll just ignore archives while you're like leveling up and pressuring somewhere else, and then like part ways you're just like, "Gotcha," sneak in, and then start striking in to still get into their hand in R&D.
Whoa. Yo, can we talk about thematics for a second?
Yeah, of course. But
so correct.
Did you find his console?
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk thematics. By the way, my mind just got blown because I didn't even consider. I guess I didn't look at the console before. I didn't pay attention.
So for the name.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, not just the name. The ability is very interesting.
Well, the name is a little more interesting, so I can look it up as well. So.
Obelus. Obelus.
Okay. Continue. Hit it up.
Okay, so Obelus is basically it's 4 costs to install, 1 extra MU, and it says your maximum hand size is increased by 1 for each tag you have. The first time a successful run on R&D or HQ ends each turn, draw 1 card for each card you access during that run. Limit 1 console per player. So here's what's interesting. This console combos with getting a lot of tags, combos with the benefits of medium and nerve agent. But this is what really bothers me. I don't know if anybody read the insert for Null, but it stated that Null, the whistleblower, I think explained to Omar exactly the amount of time that the corpse could be down, that Titan Transnational would be down, and exactly what could happen in that time frame, what it would take to bring the power out, like for that amount of time. It's very interesting to me because Obelus sort of looks like the console that encourages you to siphon a lot, like a lot. And if that's the case, this is the most thematic. This is a very thematic console because it means that Omar is designed to go, is the power down? Perfect. Siphon. Siphon, 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 and recur that over and over. My hand size is increasing because I have a lot of resources because I'm taking all your money. Siphon, like to me, that's really really interesting. I don't know if that's actually true. Someone who's like loves lore, tell me if that's right. I hope that is I'm picking up what they're laying down, but he's really really cool. Like that idea is very very cool.
Yeah, one person threw on he's the guy I guess that Null leaked the info to.
Yeah. Would that not be interesting?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. He's meant to siphon, guys. He's meant to.
He's meant to say. That's what he's using his 12 influence on.
He's meant to siphon vent, man. That's what he's meant to do.
Do you think that it's interesting that we still haven't seen the 40, like a 40 card Anarch? Would that be too ridiculous?
I think it would depend on the ability, right? Like, Khan is 40, I think, because Khan is 40 because her ability is not very good. And Silhouette is 40 because they wanted to make. And Silhouette is 40 because they wanted Silhouette to be not Silhouette. Excuse me.
No, you're right.
Smoke.
Smoke.
Smoke is 40. Well, Smoke is 40 because they wanted Smoke to be better than Kate, I think. But
they wanted Smoke to be bonkers awesome, insane good.
Because she's nuts. Like, she's so good. But like, no, I think the reason why we haven't seen a 40 Anarch is just because, I don't know. I guess no design they've made really required.
You've gone the other direction. You've seen a 50 Anarch.
Yeah, we've seen a 50. And that was very good, right? Like, Blackmail is very, very
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think it can be done?
It can be done, but it's probably...
It's unlikely right now.
So with Omar, you think there's enough support for him right now? Like, if he came out, I do. I think he's got a lot of tricks. Anarch has so many tools and tricks that he's going to slot in there. Like you said, there's a lot of conditional events that, if run on a certain central, this happens, this punishment happens. He aids that. Any drawbacks, though, to this ability? Or to running Omar that might have to be compensated for, Hollis?
Well,
12 influence.
Yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, really, no. I think that's the kind of big one. Like, playing. Omar has his ability is very specific as opposed to like generally useful. I think, right? So like compared to like again, you know, they'll probably never ever make a runner this universally good. But like looking at Kate. Like, Kate's universally good because you're always going to install programs and hardware. So, yeah, getting a free discount is always good. Omar, you kind of have to build around. The benefit of that is that it's not that specific. And if I would say it's actually less specific than Khan, comparatively. Because, I mean, the Anarch options lend itself really well to his ability. You have Nerve Agent. You have Medium. You have Data Sucker. Like, all of those things... are going to kind of just work with Omar really, really well. And so it feels like it almost feels like they reduced the influence, if for no other reason, but because they knew that Anarch had a lot of tools already that benefited very, very heavily by simply allowing you to access a different server. In my opinion, installing the ability for my opponent to ice R&D and then me to go install Medium, run archives, and I can treat that like I ran with Medium on R&D is pretty nuts.
What are you protecting the most? You going to protect your archives here? Turn one?
Well, that's the thing. There's not a good answer, right? Because if I protect archives, then you're just going to run R&D. If I protect R&D, you're just going to run archives. That's what makes it so good.
Just wait till you play against that Nexus Zone player. He's got you,
man. Got he got me. As long as he gets the ice, he's fine.
That's right. Yeah.
As long as he does that.
So, do you think he lends to? I guess one of the things about Omar is it seems like he wants to do like some neat like combo and setup builds. So I could see him coming in some problems if he doesn't quite. He could look to get some problems recovering from a rough start.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, if he gets a good start, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, Sneak Door's been around for a while, right? So it's not the first time someone's had to run on archives and been able to have this ability. Having this ability in Anarch without paying influence for it, I think that changes the game dramatically. But I don't think he turns things that much on their upside down as you think just from reading it.
Right. No, I agree.
Anything else to say about Omar?
Yeah, guys. Anything else? Anything else you want to say?
In the chat? Anything else?
Where are you going to drop him in the ranking? Hollis, recap your ranking with Omar added in.
Okay. Number one, Smoke.
Boom.
Number two, and this is tough. I'm probably wrong. Number two, Omar.
What?
Number three, Null. Number four, Khan.
All right.
That's my ranking.
The voice of the people.
Yeah.
Corey, what do you got?
As much as it pains me, I have to agree with Hollis's ranking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got me this week.
Yes.
But yeah, I think unless we see some really like insane cards for some of the support, I think that's where we'll fall. And again, I'm still kind of on the fence of whether Omar will be. I think Null could potentially overtake Omar because right now to me, like Omar's just an amazing rebirth.
Right.
I don't see myself sort of building a lot of decks with him by itself, but I'm a rebirth max player, so I'm probably not the best person. I love rebirth, so.
Yeah, to me it's hard. I find these two Anarch IDs pretty on the level right now. But I guess I'll break down mine because mine will be the only one that's different. Smoke is number one. I'll say that that Khan will be my number two. Then Omar, then Null.
Man.
Nose on the bottom?
Yeah,
he's
but
pushing
you
those chips
can always
bottom?
tell me that Null started from the bottom, and then he's here.
He's pushing those chips in on Khan, getting some sweet cards. This is Flashpoint unveiled.
I do think even V in chat there saying that criminals are in a good place at the moment. I think we're going to see a good thriving criminal cycle.
Yeah, and they've got some really interesting cards. Like, I mean, I got hit by like a Cortez recently playing online. Yeah, exactly. I was like, what is old Hernando doing there? And then as I was looking at my ice, I was like, that's actually pretty annoying. It's pretty good. So there's also, I think they have some other like pretty solid cards.
He is an interesting card.
Scream. Yeah. They may not like scream amazing, but are nice like accents to some really cool builds you can make with that faction.
Some of these cards in these packs are real thinking cards, and I think they're going to take plays. I don't think you can judge things off the initial card read when you open up. I think you're really going to have to slot them in, flush them out, and see how they synergize and actually come to fruition like Hernando. So that's our breakdown of the runners, guys. If there's anyone in chat while we rip some time at the end here, if you have questions that you want to bounce off us, now's your time to hammer the question time. Q&A.
Little Q&A action.
Q&A.
Like where were those other two references? For,
Yeah, I think last week someone asked us actually to do a Q&A, and we were trying. We were so wrapped up in trying to close everything appropriately, we forgot to take a second and ask you guys. So this is literally your time. If you have any questions, bring them to us right now. We will try our best to answer them live.
There we go.
So please.
So, hi Chris, which Flashpoint runners match up best with each of the Flashpoint corps?
Ooh.
All right. Jameson, start it off. Throw in first.
Jeez.
Me?
Yeah, that deflected. It gave me time to think.
Well, I think if Khan's breakers are like Goldie, I think she'll match up a good against Wayland.
Interesting.
Well,
Because I think what Criminal has is that ability to be able to do shutdowns and de-res some of these ones, so you won't be able to take that meat damage by encountering the ice that's been advanced. I think she's in a good spot against Jinteki, because Jinteki does a lot of damage with sentries. If people are paying some big coin for some of these bigger Jinteki sentries, and Criminal, like I said, is able to do emergency shutdowns or use the golden ability to de-res after passing and things like that. I think that's going to be good. So I think she's going to match up well there.
I think Smoke will be a really good counter to Architects of Tomorrow if you're looking just as against each other, because you're getting the efficiency from the stealth rig, making it cheaper to counteract some of the efficiency that they're getting of like the free ice. So it could be interesting. And also, I mean, Shapers have ways of sneaking out a bunch of extra clicks anyway. They just pass out clicks for days. I know, like, I'm excited as they come out. I'm not usually a big HB player, but Architects of Tomorrow, if you listen to the last episode, is an idea that I'm really excited about. So I'm probably going to be dabbling a lot with Smoke and Architects to kind of play both sides, and it'll be a good pair that I'm going to be playing around with.
Hollis, what do you got?
I'm really on board with you, Jameson. I think that Smoke is a really good counter, not only to Wayland, but I think it's also a really good counter to the way these HB decks are working. I think that Smoke can break the ice efficiently enough, the Barret ice efficiently enough, to where it's not as taxing, and that is a huge benefit.
I think Smoke's going to be a good against everyone. I think the damage. True. I think the damage ones, like the Jinteki and like the Wayland, are going to be good matchups against Null. Like I said, with you don't want to really be discarding your hand against damage heavy corporations.
Yeah. Jump some other questions.
Yeah.
I know Jack mentioned about the frame artwork. If you wants to pull that one up. About if they were get redesigned.
Yeah. Do you think it would be awesome if the frame art got redesigned to be more simpler or cleaner? Frame artwork.
Look at how excited we get on full art cards. And I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's gone, when it's no longer there.
Yeah.
You love the card.
Yeah, I think in general, if any of you guys have seen the World Championship cards they printed, the fact that they're full bleed art, that looks so good. If 9 out of 10 times, I would prefer that version to the card with frame. And the 1 out of 10 where I don't is because I dislike the card that much or whatever. It's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of artwork, and the artwork has been phenomenal. And so the more of that artwork I can see, I'm all for it.
Wesley has a good question. Why don't you read that out, Hollis? I'll answer it for you.
At the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Wesley asks, are you all going to be partaking in the end of the cycle ritual, building a good Atom deck?
I build good Atom decks all the time, man. Hey. No, all but one. The one I took to Nationals or the regionals. That wasn't so hard.
Actually, there was Wesley also asked another good one. He asked,
I played Atom legitimately all through Mumbad.
Mm-hmm.
I love Atom, and I think that the way to play Atom is going to change back to my original style of Atom decks. If you saw what I posted before. I like Stealth Atom, and as more stealth options are going to become available, I think those are the choices that you pull into Atom. So we'll see how that goes. That's the way I'm going to experiment with it.
Someone dropped a question on how they feel runners are going to be able to deal with Boom coming up in the cycle. It's snuck in there. You don't see it. But that's a really great question. It's definitely going to be a card that people are going to have to respect, and it's going to make runner economy, and it's going to be something really important. I think that could be like another good counter to some of these like stealth rigs, because they can run off such low money with the efficiency of all the stealth cards, but they're still going to need money to avoid just being tagged and just straight up murdered by Wayland decks. They're just going to be like, oh, that's cool, man. It's cool you got in there for 5 credits. That's real efficient.
And to add about, like details about Boom. So while I was at Nats, I had an opportunity to talk to Ian Birdsall and Damon Stone, and I had mentioned that while playing Ojinteki one night, an opponent had utilized Subcontract. And if you don't know, Subcontract says pick 2 operations in your hand, play them at once. And I thought that, you know, I was going to get the opportunity to utilize my sports hopper, and of course you don't, right? Because they're all played as one individual action. I think that something that you have to keep in mind is that as the threshold of the amount of damage that you take at once increases, the mitigation cards that aren't Plascrete, so the cards like I've Had Worse, the cards like Sports Hopper, are worse comparatively. Because if my opponent just goes, like if I end the turn tagged, or my opponent like does something like a, I don't know, like a hard-hitting news, and I'm just like, and I basically just, in my head I'm like, well, I'll play Sports Hopper to get ready. There's no way I would, you know that they would have something like Subcontract and 2 Scorches. And Boom, I understand it has a trash cost. Boom is still a card to respect, primarily because no one thinks initially, oh God, I can take 7 meat damage right now and then take another amount of meat damage. For the record, if you were to do the math, if your opponent permatags you some way, somehow, and you take a you take a Boom and a Scorch, GG. Doesn't matter what your protection is. You need 2 Plascrete for that. That's a good game. Like, I mean, there's really not a lot of options. So I think Boom is going to be a card that people feel very, very confident it's easy enough to trash, but they also have to be able to get the access. And there's going to be a lot of people, I think, that die to Boom because they don't respect it. I think really, really good players will do their best to mitigate it.
Do you think that Boom deserves the respect?
I do. To me, any card that is basically one click in the game, yeah, probably deserves your respect.
Yeah. Oh, just checking. Because, I mean, remember when Punitive came out? I mean, everyone was hype on that one, but then that died out really quick, right?
That's true.
And then nobody respects Punitive anymore.
That is true. I think with tagging becoming a lot easier now, and if not easier, the tagging options are bigger. Like, it's not like nowadays people don't tag with a single tag anymore because hard-hitting news exists. People tag with take 4 tags, or mid-season you take a lot of tags, like take 5, take 10. And I think that you know, knowing Boom takes 2 tags, right?
Yeah, it takes 2 tags.
That's pretty significant in my opinion.
But in that what you mentioned though, hard-hitting news being a big card people are playing, hard-hitting news is terminal. So you will have a chance to react if you play with tools to prepare yourself for it.
Yep.
And that's another thing to realize too, like some of these terminal actions, those end, like those stop. So some of those like combo reactions and things like that, terminal shuts that stuff down. I mentioned though, I believe we're going to see some other prevention cards and stuff coming out through the cycle, but if Temujin is a good indication of also how runner economy might be getting a boost, and then you have stuff like Beth, runners are getting some good tools to kind of keep pace with some of the crazy money gain corps have been able to get. Yep. And so one of the best ways to not get tagged and murdered is to have more money than the corporation player. And if you see decks that are doing credit denial, or just decks that just have a lot of tools to generate a bunch of money, that's how they're going to defend and protect themselves. Just not put themselves in the position to get tags layered all over them.
Yeah. And if you're playing con, don't forget about your Maresh bodysuit. In faction.
And networking. That's a good card.
There is a question that I want to make sure I didn't miss, but it's kind of a distance question. It says, So where do you feel the Criminal Connection deck is going with Blockade Runner? And if you don't, here's Blockade Runner. It comes out in the Intervention pack, the same pack as Smoke. It's a 1-cost criminal resource that's 1 influence. Resource Connection. It says 2 clicks, draw 3 cards, shuffle 1 card from your grip into your stack. And it's not unique. But granted, that would be irrelevant.
Yeah,
but.
yeah.
So
I like it.
I like it. I like it too. I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played Magic. Now I know Netrunners are much different game. Like card drawing in Magic is way limited compared to Netrunner, but the ability to draw 3 cards and then take a useless card from your hand that you don't really need right now, like the last special order, or any number of cards, like that can be extremely useful. What you're doing is you're balancing your card quantity with the ability to just, not necessarily just pitch the card and thin your deck. I think Blockade is a decent card. I have never been a fan, however, of the Connection deck. I've pretty much almost always felt like it was too slow. And the only time it ever got as fast as it probably could have been was during Worlds last year, where we saw Val DLR be the biggest and best deck. And even then, I don't know. Like that was during the off-campus apartment era, right? I'm not convinced this card is, or that deck archetype is fantastic.
How many times are you using this?
Oh, Blockade Runner?
Yeah.
Often. Because it's 2 clicks, draw 3, shuffle 1. So basically, like, let's say I draw 3 cards, and basically one of those cards, any one of them, remember it's any card in my hand is not very useful right now. I just shuffle it back. I've drawn 3 brand new cards. I've lost 2 clicks, so basically it gives me if my hand's at 5, just if I'm doing really well, it allows me to go be at 5, draw up to 8, put 1 back. I'm at 7. I have 2 clicks to go from 7 to 5 or any combination thereof.
Are you doing this to refill after damage?
I think so.
Is this your protection?
Possibly,
or not
yes.
not protection, but like a form of getting stuff back together? Or are you using it as a search tool?
I think it's good for. I think it's okay for both. Like
Right?
I think.
Are you digging for something? Because the first thing I think about comparing it to is express delivery.
Right. Yeah. We look at 4, choose 1.
Yeah. Right. I mean that's a little bit of a deeper dig, and you're still giving yourself a shuffle, right?
Yeah. No, I think
and
that
it's not costing me. It's not costing me 2. So I mean, if you're trying to do like an in-criminal search,
yeah.
maybe Express is the best. Like, but if you are using this to refill from damage because of what Jinteki and Wayland are going to be holding, then I could see that. But then you wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how much damage protection we're going to need.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's a tough call.
Slots
So
got
one
to
of
be
the-
cut somewhere.
So one of the follow-up questions is, would you play Blockade or Mystery Leaf?
Probably Blockade.
And what is your reasoning behind that?
So one of them is look at the top 2, choose 1, put on the bottom of the deck. I feel like what's better is draw 3 cards and shuffle, and I look at a brand new 3 cards. I feel like that's better most of the time. Granted, I am spending 2 clicks instead of 1, but Blockade only costs a single credit, so it's less of a tempo hit to try to get card quality and card quantity that way, versus where Mr. Lee is like literally I'm only getting 1 card. I choose the best out of the 2 I'm looking at, but I'm only choosing.
But you also have to pick from those 2 cards, while Blockade can give you the advantage of clearing the junk out of your hand.
I think for me to answer that question, it goes back to what are you using that card for? Is it like to refill? Like do I need the quantity, or am I using it as my search?
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you're using it as a search, then I think Blockade Runner is better because you're able to see more, and then the reshuffle. You're not putting 1 on the bottom. But if you're using it for to refill your hand.
Or the trigger with your windows, then obviously you're playing it with Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what is your window going to do? Am I right? No, none of you other guys have had that problem.
We don't
No.
play window. We don't play. We're not next level.
Dude, you're missing out.
Jesus.
All right. Do we have any other ones there?
I think we got them all.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thanks a lot, guys, for all the for the questions.
Thank you.
If one more pops up quick, we'll answer it. But
To add to Maui Chris, and I apologize if I said your name wrong. Like, the reason why I also like Mr. Lee less is because putting something on the bottom of your deck as the runner in Netrunner is like one of the worst things possible. Like, I definitely don't think we talk about that very often. Sherlock is annoying as it is because it's at the bottom of the deck. Isn't there a criminal card that does this? Will o' the Wisp? I don't know if you've ever been hit or hit anyone with the Will o' the Wisp. Watch the runner's face. Or if you got hit with it, remember that feeling when you hit a Will o' the Wisp and you didn't expect it, and that breaker you need is at the bottom of your deck now. Because now you're going, I can't even draw, I have to draw my whole deck if I have no tutor.
Yeah.
Which criminal does not have. Criminal has a special order and that's it. So if you played early game and you've tossed those special orders, and that breaker goes to the bottom of your deck, I'm so sorry for you. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
everybody except for Corey, who's playing window.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Window, I got it. I was just like,
Draws from the bottom.
that was real cool what you did there, that Will-O-Wisp. I guess I'm just gonna draw it. So, gotcha.
Nice. Jeez.
All right. I think that about wraps up things here for today. Thanks a bunch, guys, for listening to the Corporation Breakdown.
Yeah. Thanks a bunch. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. If you like what we did, just give it a thumbs up down below if you've made it this far. Hey, thumb it. Hollis, you got some thoughts to take us out?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you guys should know that we really appreciate the fact that, you guys meet with us on a consistent weekly basis to listen to us rant and rave about this game that we all play together. It's a labor of love. It takes a lot of effort, and we are very often quite exhausted, but we do it because we love the game, and we really appreciate you guys also love the game as much or more or less as we do. So if you would take any moment of time, watch other videos that we have and other content that other people that we work with very closely provide to the channel. There is a Patreon button right there. We know where it is. I said at the beginning of the cast, we know where it is. There's a Patreon button right there. If you guys like what we do and you're able to and you're willing to, we would love it if you guys would contribute. It helps us directly pay for things like the SoundCloud account for people that listen to the audio. It helps pay for any and all equipment that we would use to make sure that the cast is clean and clear and things like that. So thank you guys so much. And that's it. I have no extra real talk. I just want to thank everybody. You guys have been awesome. We had a good conversation. I'm happy we answered some questions. So thanks everybody.
And thanks for sticking through our false start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of you may never know what that is.
Good night, Neverland.
Yeah.
Bye.